Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. How are you, Stan?
I'm doing all right. How about you and Margaret?
We're okay. Thank you for asking.
Good deal.
Yeah, okay.
Your
This is
family
Dr.
doing?
Hello?
Yes.
morning.
Is that you, Doc?
Dr. Adams, right.
Good morning.
Hello?
everyone. It's Brenda. Good morning.
Morning, Brenda.
Hey, Brenda.
Hello? Okay. This is Dr. Adams.
Hey,
Participating
Doc.
by
Can
phone.
you hear us?
Here's our data.
Thank you. Okay? Yeah.
Pennsylvania Utility Board, October 14th, 2021, to order. I begin by calling the roll. Dr. Adams? Dr. Adams?
Trying to multitask here.
I heard him a minute ago.
He was multitasking.
I think I heard him say it was multitasking too.
You want to change it?
Oh, my gosh.
Well, he needs to say here or present instead of multitasking. Okay. All right, so, Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
Good morning. Here.
Mr. Deal?
Here.
Mr. Logue?
I'm here.
Mayor's here. Any opening remarks? Ms. Battle?
None.
How you doing?
Mr. Deal?
None.
One and done.
Mr. Logue?
Nothing for me.
Ms. Logue?
Nothing for me.
Okay, good. The first item, as usual, is approval of the minutes from the August 26, 21 meeting. I assume everyone has had an opportunity to review the minutes as circulated.
Yes.
Any member of the board note any errors or omissions in the minutes? If not, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as
So
drafted.
moved.
Second,
So moved.
and Logue.
Motion and a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for a voice vote. Ms. Battle?
No discussion.
Okay, we'll call it, okay. We'll just call for a voice vote on the approval of minutes. Ms. Battle?
Yes.
Mr. Deal?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mayor votes yes. We have, did we lose Dr. Adams again? Dr. Adams, you with us? Okay.
He's muted, I think.
Okay. We have two rather substantial expenditures. These would be recommendations for approval by the City Commission. The first is a proposed contract with A West Enterprise for the construction of underground utilities for the Sandy Bottom Circuit at an estimated expenditure of $8,410,480. Good morning, Ms. Fields.
Good morning. You're not going to say I'm not Mr. Trotter?
You're not Mr. Trotter.
Keep you on your toes.
Well, I was thinking about it last night. I thought you must be on extended vacation or something.
Oh, you'll see him later.
Oh.
Y'all scared him on the first two, so he's going to do this.
Okay.
Okay, this one is long awaited. Contract with A West Enterprise of Albany, Georgia for the construction of the underground utilities for the Sandy Bottom Circuit. This is a grant-funded project, and we have struggled to get a contractor. We put the bid out, and it was advertised in all the usual places, and we also advertised directly to minority contractors. We received bids back on, I believe it was the 20th? 29th. We received bids back, well, one bid. We then polled the contractors that we didn't receive any bids from. The majority of them said that one said they had too much work to do. Another one said they were afraid of the time period because, like I said, it's the grant funded and the money runs out at a specific point. And we were verbally told we weren't going to get an extension. So we had to put certain things in place in order to make sure this contract got finished when it was supposed to get finished. The good thing is we have contacted the grantor. They have agreed to allow us to go forward with this one bid. This one bid is from a local vendor, and the amount is $410,480. Others are here for questions, to respond to questions if you have them.
Okay, and who are the others who are here to respond to questions? Mr. Hodge and Mr. Daniel?
The Pips.
Ma'am?
Pips are here.
Gladys Knight, that's the Pips.
Gladys Knight.
I like that.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Field or Mr. Hodge and Mr. Daniel? Dr. Adams, you with us? Ms. Battle, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Deal?
Yes, Yvette, when does this project have to be completed? What is the date?
May 26th, 2023.
450 days.
Contract time for this project is 450 calendar days.
And A West didn't have any problem meeting this deadline?
They are anxious to get started. They've contacted me several times as they want to, although there's issues with materials, they have figured out a way to work around that. They will start working on the parts that they have now while they're waiting for the other parts to come in, so that they are ready, and they say that they will be done.
Good deal. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Ms. Loeb?
Only question is, will these repairs help us with some of the issues we've had with the hospital circuit area being out on occasion? Or are they two unrelated problems?
Gotta come up, you can't hear from back there.
You, Mr. Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you identify yourself for the record?
Lee Daniel, Utility Engineering Superintendent. Yes, sir, the Sandy Bottom Circuit is one of the circuits that feed the hospital. And by putting this circuit underground and all of its feeders, it should minimize any future issues with storm-related damage that could occur.
Good deal. Okay, that's all, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Daniel.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. That is obviously a positive development. I remember years ago when we were probably 10 years into the ATI projects, there was a outside party that said, well, the first thing you should have done in downtown Albany was to put your utilities underground as opposed to investing in these new buildings. But of course, that's a missed opportunity. My question, since it is time sensitive, Ms. Fields, how are we going to be monitoring the progress of the construction?
We've got two gentlemen here who will be monitoring. We've got Mr. Daniel and we got Mr. Hodge who will be monitoring that.
For my benefit and the public's benefit and the board's benefit, could either Mr. Hodge or Mr. Daniel explain to us how we're going to be monitoring the progress of the project?
Good morning, everyone. Kendall Hodge, Deputy Director for Utility Operations. So we'll be having periodic construction review meetings with the contractor to ensure that once the project timeline is defined, that we're having regular update meetings to ensure that the project is staying on track, that we're identifying any gaps or variances with respect to executing the project within the timetable as expected.
Okay, so the utility department is going to also serve as sort of a project manager on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because we've made that firm commitment to EDA, we want to make sure that we follow through on our contract within the defined time frame.
Okay.
Okay, and we will be keeping EDA updated with respect to regular progress update reports to ensure that the project is staying on track.
Okay, thank you. This question, this QUES, Ms. Field, is this the engineering firm that's designing the project?
Yes, sir.
And so you write them a letter and say, this is the only bid we have, and not only is the grantor willing to proceed with only one bid, but QUES is saying that the firm has the qualifications to perform.
We didn't write them a letter, we called them, but yes, they wrote us a letter.
Okay, all right, but that's what okay. All right. The chair would entertain a motion, should any member of the commission wish to make a motion to recommend, that the city enter into this contract with, A-West Enterprise.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
Second.
motion is second. Any discussion? Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle? Mr. Deal?
None.
Mr. Loeb?
Nothing.
With that, we'll call, the question. Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
Yes.
Mr. Deal?
Yes.
Loeb?
Yes.
Mayor votes yes. The next item, is Mr. Trotter here yet? Ms. Fields?
I told you, I got the first two.
Oh, okay. Okay. This again is a rather substantial contract. It's recommending that the city commission approve contract for engineering services for the CSO project with Ardura Group of Augusta, Georgia, for an amount not to exceed $9,994,000. What can you tell us about this?
A lot of money not to exceed. But we've got this is a huge project. We did a request for qualifications. We got four quality responses. From those responses, the evaluation team selected Ardura. We negotiated with Ardura for their fee, and what we've presented here is that $9,994,000 that will not be exceeded. Mr. Stock will make absolutely sure it's not exceeded.
Absolutely.
This is the engineering services that are required for us to be able to get our work done as required by EPD by 2025.
Five.
And Mr. Hughes, Mr. Maples, Mr. Stock, and Mr. Brown's on the line? Not on the line? Okay.
Mr. Brown's there.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Oh, good morning, Ms. Brown. Okay, did any of these gentlemen wish to make a comment? Mr. Stock?
Here for questions. The only thing I would just point out to the board is that it is not to exceed the $9,994,000, but the actual line items, the kind of the for sure definite line items are about $8.4 million. There was a breakdown that was in the package. And then there were 5, what I will just refer to as a la carte services, which is the remainder. And there's a large portion of that, 1.2 million of that is for some, what's the term they used? Field resident project, which we will end up not using, but we needed to have that in because there could be some engineering that comes along the way that's out of scope that we would need to have addressed. So we needed a line item to address that. But I absolutely have no intention of going anywhere near that $1.2 million for that line item. So I think at the end of the day, we will come well under this $9.9 million for this service.
Okay. Mr. Maples, do you have anything to add? Mr. Hughes?
The only thing, you touched on it, but I do want to make it very clear, we got the permit from EPD. The anniversary is coming up this month. So understand, we have lost a year of our 5 years.
Right.
So I just want to make sure everybody understands, as the mayor said, we kicked the can enough. Staff is trying to pick the can up and do something with it. We got to get going on this project if we're going to make the June 30th, 2025 deadline. And that's why we went out and followed the Brooks Act to do an RFQ and try to secure a consultant to try and make this happen and meet that deadline. So I just want to make sure everybody understands we have lost 1 year of a 5-year permit time, and we really need to get this project going. So any questions?
Okay. Any questions, Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
No questions.
Mr. Deal?
None.
Mr. Logue?
Okay, yes, this 9.94 million, that fits within, that's part of our $105 million CSO project, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
sir, it is.
This is a good step in moving forward, and thank you all for your diligence, and Bruce, thank you for reminding us that we have lost a year and that we need to get on with this. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. I obviously have some questions. This firm, I think, acquired Constantine. I wasn't really happy with that whole thing. This not to exceed, I don't like it, but as I understand, that's the industry standard. Is that correct? I talked to Mr. Stock before. We talking about engineering. $10 million is a lot of money, but in the scheme of a $100 million project, it's about 10%. It's a matter of concern, but I do think we need to. Well, I mean, we don't have an option. We've got to move forward. One thing that I have mentioned, I mean, this is about a resident project manager. I think the city should have an independent project manager. In my experience, when the company's providing, supervising themselves, you're just throwing money out the window. I do know that engineering, public works has got more than they can do.
We have a plan for that.
Okay, I appreciate that, Mr. Carter, but I just want us to be aware, and in a very simple sense, Mr. Maples, Ms. Fields, what this firm will be doing will be generating the engineering drawings. If it was a house, it'd be the blueprints for each of these different basins. And coming together, that would be the comprehensive plan for correcting the combined
85% of it.
Yeah, oh, yes, sir. Okay. to meet the permit requirements. That's what we're paying him to do right here. And looking at their timeline, they're really going to be working on this project up to the termination date. Okay. All right. Okay, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend approval of the contract to the city commission.
So moved.
Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion is second.
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
None.
Mr. Deal?
None.
Mr. Logue?
None.
He's still
I
there.
can't. He is on?
Yeah, he's just muted.
Okay. Dr. Adams, I think you're muted. Okay, we'll call for a vote. Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
Yes.
Mr. Deal?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mayor votes yes. And thank you, Ms. Fields. And now we're getting out of the millions into the is Mr. Trotter with us?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Good morning, Mr. Trotter. Is
morning,
Mr. Henry
sir.
with us? Okay, Mr. Bednar. Good morning, Mr. Bednar.
Good morning, Mayor.
What can y'all tell us about this purchase?
Yes, sir. Consider approval for purchase of one John Deere compact excavator from Flynn Equipment Company. Total expenditure of $50,237.92. This would be purchased off of a Sourcewell contract. It also will be replacing an 07 unit. And we also ask that it be deemed surplus for sale. This equipment is in stock. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Trotter. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Bednar?
No, Mayor, this is a unit that is replacing an older backhoe, and I think this will make this division a little bit more efficient because it is a smaller track type unit that allows them to get next to and in between houses easier for installations.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Trotter or Mr. Bednar? Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
No questions.
Mr. Deal?
No, I'm good.
Mr. Loeb?
I'm good.
Okay, I just say this is, we have this issue here that, sometimes we're having problems in the current environment, getting equipment. This is available. I saw something about this last night, talking about equipment and materials. And some of these contracts, we need to be conscious of that as we move forward. All right, the chair would entertain a motion to authorize the purchase of the excavator.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Deal. Motion and second. Any discussion? Dr. Adams? Battle?
No discussion.
Deal?
No.
Ms. Loeb?
I'm like you, Mayor. I was glad to see that it was a piece of equipment that's in stock and that we could actually use that Sourcewell contract through a local dealer here. So nothing more for me.
Okay. Any member of the board prepared? We hadn't made a motion, have we? Yeah, okay. Motion second. We'll call for a vote.
Right.
Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
Yes.
Mr. Deal?
Yes.
Mr. Loeb?
Yes.
Mayor votes yes. The next proposal, you with us, Mr. Trotter?
Yes, sir.
It is a maintenance and support agreement. I guess you'll explain to us what that is with Milestone Utility Services for the cost of $55,000.
Yes, sir. Like you say, it's license and maintenance support with Milestone Utilities for the e-portal solution, which Mr. Norman explained what it is, for total expenditure $55,000. Staff recommends approval.
Mr. Norman, I guess you're going to explain to us what this is.
Yes, sir, Mayor. Milestone is a vendor we selected to supply our customer-facing portal, and this is the regular annual maintenance agreements to support that, as well as the hosting of the servers for that portal. So it's the maintenance and support agreements on both parts of it for hosting it and also the support and maintenance of it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Norman. Any questions for Mr. Norman or Mr. Trotter? Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
No question.
Mr. Deal?
None.
Loeb?
Nothing for me.
Let me just ask, Mr. Norman, is this a situation where once you buy these, their intellectual property or their system or whatever, you kind of bound to them?
Yes, sir. I mean, we went through the whole process of selecting, going through the process of selecting a vendor that could put all the parts and pieces of the AMI in the billing software into one portal, so that make it very easy for a customer to check their bills, pay their bills, look at history, kind of dig into their services and see what they have. This was the one that was selected. So
okay. And how long have they been providing this service for the city?
It's just got stood up this past year.
Okay. All right. At a certain point in time, do you put it out for bid, or just stay with the same company as long as they're performing satisfactorily?
As long as they're performing satisfactory and the system is working, we will keep these agreements to keep their support.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Norman or Mr. Trotter? Dr. Adams? That all we did? Yeah. Oh, yeah, got around to me. Okay. And then, the chair would entertain a motion to authorize staff to enter into this agreement for a cost of $55,000.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion, motion is second. Ms. Deal, any discussion? Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
No discussion.
Mr. Deal?
Nothing.
Mr. Logue?
Just like to remind everybody, when we actually chose Milestone, we went through, when we acquired the software initially, on a discussion of the annual cost that would be involved. And they identified for us then that it was going to be $55,000 a year. It's typically quoted as a percentage of the price of the software itself on an annual basis. And so this is not unexpected.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Logue. With that, we'll call the question. Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
Yes.
Deal?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mayor votes yes. And the third contract is a contract with Cardno to provide professional services at the former manufactured gas plant at a cost of $180,000. And it's my understanding that this will be the final stage of the remediation project, if I'm correct. Okay. Mr. Trotter?
Yes, sir. This is, as you said, with Cardinal of Norcross, Georgia for the professional services. This will be as a project management overseeing the cleanup at the gas plant on 900 Front Street. Staff recommends approval. I believe Mr. Daniels is available for any questions.
Okay. Mr. Daniel, hey, you have anything you want to add to that?
No, sir.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Trotter, Mr. Daniel? Dr. Adams? Ms. Battle?
No questions.
Mr. Deal?
None.
Logue?
No questions.
Okay. What, if anything, could we do with this building, Mr. Daniel?
With what building, sir?
There's no building.
Yeah, there's no building.
For the plant? Okay. With this property?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're talking, yeah.
Well, there's talks of some future park situation maybe. We're not sure. It could be something like that. You can't develop on. So it could be a trailhead maybe even for the trail that's there. So there's that talk in the past or in the past about that.
Okay. And I see that of the $180,000, $60,000 is actual testing costs that Cardno will incur. Is that right?
And they're actually managing the project for this phase of the remediation also.
Okay. And when is the completion date?
Plans are to get started in November of this year, or December, cold months, and it should take about 4 months for the remediation to be completed.
Okay, so sometime next spring, we should have a clearance. Do you get the clearance from the EPA or the EPD?
It's EPD, but it'll be a little after that.
We will submit the application for the clearance.
Correct.
Okay, all right. And I guess does Cardno assure guarantee that we're going to get the clearance, or?
They are positively
optimistic.
Optimistic.
So the answer is no. Okay. All right. Chair would entertain a motion to enter into the contract for $180,000 with Cardno.
So moved.
For the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Dr. Adams?
You're right.
Okay. Dr. Adams is not with us. Ms. Battle,
No discussion.
Mr. Deal,
None.
Logue.
Nothing?
Okay, we'll call the question. Ms. Battle,
Yes.
Mr. Deal,
Yes.
Logue.
Yes.
Mayor votes yes. The next item is an update on, it says catch basin maintenance, but really my question was a lot broader than that with the entire maintenance of our stormwater system. I mean, my question was not broader, but my intent was broader. So let me say that.
Okay.
And yes, the minutes didn't reflect. No, but if I could just as a sort of a preface here, if you look at Constantine's report, a lot of the cost, the ongoing expense, is enhanced maintenance of the system. And I think this is something we've, obviously, we have relaxed our maintenance in recent years, and that is something that needs to be addressed, and we need to be more proactive about it, and that's what hopefully Mr. Stock's going to tell us about today.
Yes, sir. I just a couple comments. I guess the very first comment would be kind of a recharacterization of what you said, with,
Yes, sir.
with all due respect. So in their numbers, I would be hesitant to classify it as maintenance upgrades. Really, it is replacement of aging infrastructure. So that those big line items that you see that are line and pipe replacement and lift station improvements, those are really to replace aging pumps and aging pipes and all of that. So it's still capital, not necessarily maintenance.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All right. Well, I'll look at it. I mean, maybe you're right. If you are, I apologize. Go ahead.
I think it's semantics, I think.
Well, no, it's not semantic. I mean, if it's capital, you're putting something in the ground. If it's maintenance, you're getting something out of the ground.
The money for
or off the street. But I will check that, and if I was incorrect, I apologize.
It is for equipment and hardware in the ground and in the truck. So okay, yeah. So with that, did a little presentation. This is very similar to what you all have seen previously. We've updated some numbers, and I updated an option, which I'll explain as we go forward. And of course, before you ask me, yes, I will send this to you after the meeting today, so you can have it. And I apologize for not getting it out to you before. So the first thing is under the catch basin inspection and cleaning, we went through our GIS and updated our numbers. We are at 9,401 catch basin and inlets in the system. Per the MS4 permit, which is a stormwater permit, we are required to inspect each of these once every 5 years, and so the program does that. We currently utilize what we would kind of characterize as a complaint-driven strategy with focus on known trouble areas. This is exactly the same strategy utilized by Savannah, Tallahassee, Valdosta, and a few other municipalities that we inquired of previously. To give you the next table is just kind of a history of what we've been able to accomplish over the last few years as to actually how many catch basins were cleaned and how much feet of pipe, that leaves those catch basins that was cleaned. And again, I'll send this around so you can see it, but our goal was basically 2,000 plus per year, and you can see that some years, there's a couple of years that we barely, that we get over the 2,000, and there's a lot of years where we easily have have doubled what our goal was. Currently in 2021, through numbers through September, we obviously don't have October numbers, but numbers through September, we are already over the 2,000 at 2,269 and have cleaned over 75, almost 76,000 feet of pipe. Next one, please. This is an evaluation that we've done. You've seen this before about what it would be if we went to a multi-year strategy for cleaning out each catch basin. So we are in that first column, the once per every 5 years. So that's kind of the base here. And then if you went to a once per year strategy, it would actually require 5 more crews. Again, this is the same information that we've had before. It would require 5 more crews, which is 10 positions, and 5 more jet vac trucks, which would cost approximately $1.75 million. The O&M for having 5 more crews would be slightly over $1 million additional. And that has been updated with updated labor costs and updated fuel costs and those types of things. Those numbers have been updated to current from the last time you've seen it. Next slide, please. So as an option going forward, one of the things that we've looked at is, again, we're required to follow at least or at a minimum the guidelines of the MS4 permit, again, which says we have to inspect at least 20% of the system every year. What we would look at going forward is a program that would inspect every catch basin once per year. We would create work orders based on those inspections, which is what we actually do now of the 20% we look at. But of course, if we were to do that, we estimate it would involve hiring a couple additional employees and having a couple of pickup trucks to convey those employees around to make these additional inspections per year. A rough estimate of that cost would be an additional $200,000 per year. Don't necessarily need your blessing or whatever today, but we can take your comments today, and if it's something you'd like us to entertain, we would entertain and add that into our budget for next year. We would still follow the process of cleaning per the inspection results and, of course, cleaning our known trouble areas. And again, we would meet the standard or exceed the standard of cleaning at least 20% of the locations per year and documenting that on what I would call a cleaning circuit, so that, over the 5-year period, of course, we would show that we've physically touched each and every location. We can reevaluate the program annually. And then just kind of one of the notes I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of, that we should and will expect to see noticeable improvements in our trouble areas once the CSO separation projects go forward. Because what those projects are going to do is they're going to go in and they're going to increase the diameter of those pipes that convey that storm water. And obviously in areas today where we have a lot of pooling of stormwater, it's going to be more, conveyed out quickly. Obviously, in those flash flood type storms, the streets are still going to hold water as designed until the time it takes to convey that water out of the area. But the CSO separation project will improve a lot of those trouble areas that we do have. And just to comment on the street sweeping, we have 8 street sweepers. We sweep over 423 miles. We sweep curb and gutter streets are swept monthly, and the high traffic areas such as downtown are actually swept weekly. And that kind of concludes the presentation. If you have any other questions, we can go from there.
Before we go, question, can we go back 2 slides, Mr. Stock?
Yeah.
I mean,
Slide 2. Yeah.
Okay.
I think what they're trying to convey here, Mayor, is this is where we are currently.
Yes, sir. I know. I
think if we do
yeah.
one per year,
Yeah.
if we do it twice a year,
Yeah.
if we do it 3 times a year.
Yeah. I had some point. Can we leave that up there? Because I had some questions I want to.
Sure.
I mean, since I think maybe I'm off base on some things, but maybe I have a point on some others.
Okay.
Okay. Dr. Adams, you with us? I think he left. Okay. We dropped him. Can you?
Yeah, he dropped.
All right. Mr. Maples, Mr. Hughes, do y'all want to say anything about this?
No question.
Okay, other than we can't do it with the staff and equipment we got right now. Okay.
Yeah, that's obvious, yeah.
Yes, okay. All right, Ms. Battle, any question for Mr. Stock or Mr. Maples or Mr. Hughes?
No questions at all.
Okay. Mr. Deal?
None.
Mr. Loeb?
Mr. Stock, the catch basins and inlets that we are inspecting and cleaning now, as you pointed out, there were years where we were doing, I think there was 1 year that was slightly less than the 2,000. There were several years where it was substantially more than the 2,000. Are those unique basins and inlets, or would that include any that might be in troubled areas that we have to clean multiple times a year?
The per year is unique, but on a year over year, obviously you're gonna have the repeat offenders, some repeat offenders in that list.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
The two highest.
Okay, Mr. Hughes?
Yes, sir, Mr. Lowe. The two highest years were right after the storms we had come through.
Right, I remember noticing that. At 17.
So we put a lot more effort into that. We had a lot more issues at that time. So, you know, all of the jetbacks we used actually belong to the sewer fund, sanitary sewer fund. So basically that was a priority at that time. So we put more effort toward that because we had some issues. We had a lot of debris in the lines and the catch basins. Right. So we spent about 2 years hitting that real hard. And now we're kind of back to a more normal situation now.
Okay, thank you. That's all for me, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stock, my questions here, of course, I mean, I continue to feel that this, what you call complaint-driven strategy, results in inequities because there's certain areas of town that are not getting the service. I mean, my wife might call after every storm, and other folks might not have the ability or the inclination, but I mean, I know over there, I think it's on School Street in East Albany, when I was walking that neighborhood, it might not be School Street, but I'll go over there with you. Okay. It's over there, and this area, this catch basin had clearly not been cleaned in years. I mean, the debris was out into the middle of the road. Okay. And, you know, in some places, there aren't residences, and so there's nobody to complain, but we have the congestion in our system. And I just think we've got to get a different approach. And one thing I would see, I don't see it as all or anything. Here, one thing we talk about crew cleaning time, obviously, if we clean the catch basins with more frequency, the time required to clean the catch basins is going to be reduced.
It would fall off over the years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one thing. And instead of, could we see some numbers for? I mean, to be honest, it was his permit, so we have a legal requirement every 5 years. We have to do it. Right. But the minimum shouldn't be our goal. And I would ask that you come back, and it's not a priority, but I think we need to do something about this, Mr. Doc. Would you give us some numbers if we got every catch basin, if we did roughly 4,500 a year, every year?
Yeah, we can, yes, sir.
And so that would get you on every catch basin in 2 years. And the other thing that I was thinking about this, I can't, it must be true, what you called a cleaning circuit. If you're concentrating in one area, you're going to be more efficient and you can get more done. And I just think there are a lot of advantages that we're not considering of taking a more a geographic approach to doing this. So with that, we're not talking about any action today, but if you can get us those numbers of every 2 years, I mean, that'd be twice what we have. And again, the long-term advantage is we're putting less debris into the system, And I'm sure we're gonna, somewhat reduce localized flooding in some areas if we had a more frequent, maintenance schedule.
Yes, sir, we can do that.
Okay.
Come back.
I appreciate it, Mr. Stock. Any other member have any questions in view of what, that last discussion? Ms. Battle?
No question.
Mr. Deal?
No, I thought it was well presented.
Okay.
Can you,
And
can you hear
Ms.
me?
Logue?
Hello, 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 hello. Hello.
Like that.
Hello.
There's Dr. Adams.
Okay, Dr. Adams?
I think Dr. Adams has rejoined us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, I was doggone, I finally got in. Okay. But I just want to be sure I'm heard. No, I don't have any questions. I'm sorry.
All right. Ms. Logue?
No, I'm like you. I think that if we did it with a little more frequency, to the extent, I guess in my mind, I'm trying to run through and see how much improvement might come about as we do our CSO upgrades. And it certainly seems, I agree with you that something needs to be done. And perhaps as an initial step, something like Mr. Stock described, where we are inspecting every one of the basins every year and cleaning those that are required to be cleaned with the work orders that are generated, might be a good first step. And we might, I didn't know if we wanted to go ahead and start something like that as we determine what our long-term plan might be.
Okay. Is that okay, Ms. Stock?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Now, that's what do you estimate, about a $200,000 increase in?
Just for inspections.
Well, I mean,
But I'll bring back the numbers for the.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, this gets a lot more complicated than somebody with my limited intelligence could understand. I'm sure that in the low-lying areas, you're going to have a higher concentration of debris, and then in some areas, you have a larger basin, and if there's no trees around, you're not going to have a problem. But all right. With that, the last item on the agenda before other matters is selecting a voting delegate and an alternate voting delegate for the ECG 2021 board elections, which will be held at the meeting on December 7th, 2021. Ms. Stock.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you. So we got a notification from ECG about their annual meeting, or not the annual meeting. I'm sorry.
Voting day.
The voting meeting is where new members are seated. And so we looked at the documentation. We realized that the voting delegate and the alternate voting delegate that we had selected for the city were the prior city manager and the prior assistant city manager, both of who are no longer with the city. So we need to replace our voting delegate and our alternate voting delegate. And then, of course, there will be the actual election that is December 7th for the ECG board.
Is this meeting in person or virtual or optional?
I think it's gonna be in person.
Yeah, right now it looks like it's in person. I've asked if there's going to be a virtual option.
Where's it at?
Yeah.
Lake Oconee.
Oh, okay. I'm available then. Okay, all right. Any questions for Mr. Stock? Dr. Adams?
None.
Ms. Battle?
Where did you say the meeting would be?
Lake Oconee.
So Jack Nicholas Design Course.
Oh, okay. No question.
Mr. Deal?
You should attend.
No.
Mr. Logue?
I was just curious if there is any necessity for it to, or is there any benefit for one of the board members being the voting delegate or alternate as opposed to staff?
That would certainly be my preference, have one staff member and one member of the board.
I agree completely.
Okay. I'm scared to go up there. Might not want to come back. I've seen pictures. It's nice.
Then we don't want you to go.
Okay, so does anybody want to nominate another member or volunteer to be the alternate or
I would like to.
I'd like to nominate
to,
Stan Logue. Can you hear me? Stan Logue.
Okay. Dr. Adams, did you want to nominate somebody?
would like to consider Mrs. Battle.
Okay. All right. Stan, would you be willing to be the voting delegate or alternate voting delegate?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Ms. Battle, would you consider being the voting delegate or alternate voting delegate?
Yes, and it doesn't matter which one for me.
Okay. All right. And does any member of the board wish to nominate a staff member? Mr. Carter, Mr. Stock, either one of y'all prefer to?
I can do it.
Okay. All right. And how do y'all want to handle this? Is the staff member going to be the voting delegate or the alternate? What's your preference, Dr. Adams?
I would think the staff member should be the voting delegate.
Okay. Ms. Battle?
Voting delegate.
Okay. Mr. Deal?
I'm really okay with either one, staff or
Okay.
board member.
Mr. Logue?
Now, I was going to say, I think there are probably pros and cons to each. I think I'm ambivalent. I think it could be either one.
Okay. With that, I would nominate Mr. Carter as our voting delegate to the ECG meeting on December 7th, 2021. Is there a second?
Second?
I second.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Dr. Adams?
None.
Ms. Battle?
None.
Mr. Deal? Mr. Logue? I think, is Mr. Deal frozen?
I was going to say, I think Jim's internet might be giving him an issue. I have no questions, no discussion.
What did you say?
Mr. Freeze on Batman got a hold. That's, okay. With that, I guess I should ask any other nominations for the voting delegate. If not, I guess motion is closed on the said name. And for the appointment of Mr. Carter as the voting delegate, Dr. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Battle?
Yes.
Mr. Deal?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Okay, now the alternate delegate, Mr. I guess, Mr. Logue was nominated first. Is that way we should take Mr. Logue's, or how we do that?
Dr. Adams had nominated
Okay.
Ms. Val.
Okay.
Well, you have to
I
do
think
that. Which one was first, then?
I think the process, Nathan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that you take the last person nominated first, vote on that person, and then go from there.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, then we'll consider Ms. Battle as the alternate voting delegate, okay? Call the question. Dr. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Battle?
Yes.
Mr. Deal?
No, because I nominated Stan. I can't vote against him.
Okay, Mr. Logue?
I'm going to vote yes, and we'll close this out.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're going to give Brenda a chance, Jim.
Good, that suits me
I took
fine,
care of
Brenda.
MEAC, so she can take care
Since
of
I nominated him, I would feel like a traitor if I hadn't voted for him.
Okay. Well, we'll watch on Facebook and see if Ms. Battle has a good time up there. That's
Now, can I say something about this
yes.
process?
Okay, Mr. Carter.
We don't have a person on that board, and I would like to nominate Mr. Stock as a board member. Okay. We actually have somebody on the sitting board, not just somebody to vote for the people on the board. So,
okay. Board members, Mr. Carter has brought up the point that just like with MEAG, we don't have a board, we don't have anybody sitting on the ECG board, and he would like to nominate Mr. Stock. And I am unfamiliar. Would that be something that happens at the board meeting?
Right.
Okay. All right. I think it's an excellent idea. Any discussion about that, Dr. Adams?
None. None.
Ms. Battle?
None.
Mr. Deal?
None.
Mr. Logue?
I think it's an excellent idea, and I fully support Ken being nominated at the board meeting.
Okay. I would, Chair would make a motion to authorize, this is Mr. Carter, to nominate Ken Stock, for selection, for service on the, ECG board.
That works.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a
Yeah.
second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion, Dr. Adams?
None.
Ms. Battle?
None.
Ms. Deal?
Nothing. Good choice and good luck, Ken.
Ms. Logue?
No discussion.
Okay, we'll call the question. Dr. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Battle?
Yes.
Deal?
Yes.
Ms. Logue?
Yes.
Mayor votes yes. Now, any other matters to come before the board? Dr. Adams?
None.
Ms. Battle?
None.
Mr. Deal?
The only question I have would be for Mr. Carter. Are we doing any better with our telephone answering down at the utility building or utility center?
Yes, I monitor those records every day, and first of all, the call volume has gone down slightly, but we are doing better, and we're getting less complaints about it anyway. We still don't have enough staff to answer every call, but we do work diligently to make sure that we get those calls handled. And again, based on the numbers that I see, we are doing better. And let me say also that in reference to that, not the same thing, but kind of, you're probably going to get some calls about cutoffs because they're going to start again. We haven't cut anybody off since March. So we're about to start that process again. So expect to get some phone calls about people being cut off. In conjunction with that, we're opening the drive-through back up on Monday so that people have an opportunity to pay through the drive-through again. But just want to make sure that the board is aware that cutoffs is about to start again, and I expect that you'll get phone calls about it.
I think there was a notification in our utility bill this month. Is that correct?
It was. We've done TV, paper, Facebook. We've done all the advertising, but that still won't stop the phone calls.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Carter.
You're welcome.
Ms. Logue, any other matters?
Nothing for me.
Okay, and finally, an opportunity for any member of the board to identify other business they might have or request items for future agenda. Dr. Adams?
None.
Ms. Battle?
None.
Mr. Deal?
None.
Mr. Logue?
The only thing for me is, Mr. Carter, I know we talked in the past about identifying spots for putting in internet access, hotspots around town. How is that plan coming?
We're progressing along. We've identified 2 parks. I have to get with our IT department. I can't remember the name of the parks, but we've identified 2 places that we're already building into.